Hey everyone, I want to talk a little bit today about fear and what it is and its effect on us. Fear is, of course, basically the primal instinct that keeps us alive. It keeps us away from doing something that will harm us in the short term and long term. It keeps us from eating a poison that we recognize as poisonous. It keeps us from taking a short term action which will put us in the line of fire from natural causes, whether a tree falling or predator coming at us, things like that. But it also keeps us away from societal situations where we would be in the most danger. Go away from this group of people when they look angry, they look dangerous. Go towards this group of people if you wanted to survive longer. It's all very primal instincts that interact with society and may seem more complicated as humans evolve, but is always based on these very impulsive and anti-predatory actions that we are hardwired to make. But when fear develops into one's ideology, when fear influences one's thinking and ideas about what should be and how one should behave, that's when fear becomes a hindrance. When we decide to fear everyone with a different idea of religion, with a different idea of society, with a different political idea, whatever it is, when we decide to fear them and shun them just based on the idea that we're unsure about them, what they really are and what they really want, and we base our actions towards them on this fear, even if we're not conscious of it, that's when it can seep into who we are. We must never let fear seep into who we are. If fear seeps into who we are, then we are no more than the primal instincts which make up our basic composition of personality and genetics and emotions based on pheromones or electrical impulses in the brain. Our very basic composition is what fear is. And most people, I hate to say, but most people base their ideology on what they are afraid of. And other we're uncertain about. A stranger that could be any of these things that are negative towards us, that could harm us, or that could influence us in a bad way, that could steal something from us. The idea that we can't let other people into our space, into our state, country, nation. We can't let other people into our church, our temple. We can't let other people that are different into our lives. And the idea is that we can't let people who are different that we're unsure of into these spaces where we consider it a place of safety, a place that is our own. It's the natural impulse to not let people we're unsure of into those spaces, but is that truly living if we don't allow someone who could bring something to expand our own consciousness, expand our own understanding into our space? If we don't take the risk to allow people like that into who we are, whatever space it might be, even our very homes. You don't have to. I mean, you can, of course, make value judgments about, is this person reliable? Do I think that they won't steal something? Or do I think that it would be a good idea to show them around my house? Are they violent? Things like that. Very simple choices like that as far as property goes, and turning your back on somebody, will they come at you? Things like that. That makes more sense for the very basic reason that these are the most primal instincts, and some of them make sense. Some of them actually do preserve us. But the idea that we should shun everyone that is different from entering any of our spaces is a purely fear-based ideology. We can't let that kind of ideology destroy our potential. Our potential is to grow. The human potential is amazing. We have the potential to grow and develop beyond anything anyone has imagined. The only way that humanity has reached who we are right now is the continuous growth, societally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, politically, religiously. The only way we've reached where we are is because we have progressed in all of these factors. Now, are we going to close ourselves off to progressing further just because we're afraid? Are we going to stump our ability to be something more just because we're afraid? And when we're something more, we influence others to be something more. We influence our children to be something more. Are we going to stump all these people's progress just because we're afraid in a very primal and instinctual way of something that could harm us or something that could interject into our ideology and put us in a position where we can be harmed? Are we going to do that just so that we don't die? And now, what is death? Is it something to be feared to the point where you don't live? No. This is a very simple statement. A lot of people make it, but we shouldn't fear death so much that we stop ourselves from living in a way that could increase who we are and what our children, what our society can be. We shouldn't base our existence on the idea that it'll end through this or that way. We should base our existence on the idea that it can improve. And now you make safeguards. You don't bring somebody into your home or your society that is obviously dangerous, has killed somebody, that is obviously some kind of criminal, obviously. Like somebody who's bringing drugs into the country, you should extradite them. Somebody who's bringing weapons to the country, you shouldn't let them in. You should send them back to wherever they went. But just simple people who aren't bringing any drugs, aren't bringing any weapons into our country, and have a desire to work or communicate or teach or anything, we should let them in, if not for them, if not to help them, which is a very good thing, to help ourselves so that we grow, so that we become something more. That's how the United States was founded. It was a melting pot of all different kinds of people, and that's why we became so great. That's how we became so great, and that's who we are. We can't destroy who we are just because we don't want to take a risk on expanding our society through people who might injure it. Make the obvious decisions. Don't let criminals in. Don't let people smuggling things in. But the people who just want to be a part of our society, let them in. Just let them in. Give them citizenship easily. And honestly, we need them. We need different kinds of people. We need different kinds of religions. We need different kinds of understandings in order to expand ourselves, in order to grow and become a better people. That's just as true for every nation as it is for the United States of America. That's just as true for any religion, any society, and any political ideal. Let people in. Don't isolate yourself. If you do, you'll never grow. Your whole community will never grow. You will remain as you are, and time will tread on you until you don't exist anymore. Let people in. Don't let primal fear dictate who you are, because that's exactly what fear does if we go back down to the primal level and let it rule who we are. And that's all I got to say about fear and how getting rid of it can help us. Not just personally, not just our family, but every single person in our community, no matter what community it is, whether it's a town, a city, a state, a nation, a political group, a religious group, any kind of societal group. It doesn't matter. Let people in. Grow. That's how you'll live. That's how you become better. Thank you for watching.